Hello everyone. Today we'll study the chapter Mauryas and Kushans. In this chapter we will learn about the first ever empire of India was Maurya Empire, the Emperor Ashoka's achievement, administration and contribution to art and architecture, the history of Kushan's administration and contribution of Kanishka, locating the regions of Ashoka's empire in the map of India. Now first we will see about the Mauryas. India's first empire was Maurya Empire. Here empire means an extensive territory or a nation ruled by a single supreme authority. It is called as empire. They ruled from Magad. Magad, it is a place in Bihar. Chandragupta Maurya, Bindusara and Ashoka are the important kings of this dynasty. This dynasty was established by Chandragupta Maurya. The name of Chandragupta Maurya was made eternal by recording it by Megasthenes, the Greek ambassador, in his book Indica. Now we will see what are the sources. Reference sources. Though the sources material are less, the available sources provide valuable information on Mauryas. The following are the sources. First one, it is Megasthenes Indica. Megasthenes was in India as the ambassador of Greek in the court of Chandragupta Maurya. He has recorded his experience at Patliputra, the capital of Maurya Empire. Again, Patliputra is also in Bihar. In his book Indica, though the origin book has remained untraced, later Greek writers like Arrian and Pliny referred to it in their work. Indica reveals the city administration, social and religious life of Maurya's period. Next, it is source is Kautilya's Arthashastra. Arthashastra is written by the teacher and Prime Minister of Chandragupta Maurya, Kautilya. He is also known as Chanakya or Vishnugupta. Arthashastra is written in Sanskrit. It outlines the basic principles on administration, foreign affairs and judicial duties that a king ought to know. By reading this book, one can understand the politics, economy and the administration as well as the social and other aspects of Maurya's period. Next, it is Mudra Rakshasa. This is a Sanskrit play written by Vishakhadatta. It narrates the process of Chandragupta Maurya being brought into the power by Kautilya. Deepavamsha and Mahavamsha. These two are the Sri Lankan literary work. They narrate the efforts of Ashoka to spread Buddhism in Sri Lanka. Next, it is inscriptions of Ashoka. Inscription means the engraved writing on the pillars on wall. It is called as inscriptions. Inscriptions are the authentic source of information on Ashoka. They tell about the boundaries of Ashoka's empire, his efforts to spread Dhamma and the detail of Kalinga battle. Now first we will see about the Chandragupta Maurya. Chandragupta Maurya founded the Maurya Empire. Chandragupta came to power by dethroning the last king of Nanda dynasty under the guidance of his teacher Kautilya at the age of 25. By this time, the northwest of India was ruled by the representative of Alexander Seleucus Nicator till Punjab. In 305 BCE, Chandragupta Maurya declared war against him and battle ended in an agreement. According to it, Seleucus handed over 4 territories that included today's Afghanistan and Baluchistan to Chandragupta Maurya. Moreover, he married his daughter to him. With this, the Magad Empire established a rule over a vast northwestern area. As per a Jain tradition, it is said that Chandragupta Maurya handed over his reign to his son Bindusara after accepting Jainism in his last days. It is said that he later travelled to Shravanbelgola in Karnataka. This Shravanbelgola is in Hassan district, along with his Jain sages Bhadrabahu and others. Finally, the tradition said that he undertook Salavaikhana Varta and passed away there itself. Now next ruler, the famous ruler of this dynasty is Emperor Ashoka. The most powerful emperor of India, Ashoka, is from this dynasty. He was the son of Bindusara. He was the governor of Ujjain and Takshila. Ujjain, it is in Madhya Pradesh, and Takshila, it is a place in present day Pakistan. During his father period, he suppressed an uprising at Takshila after the death of his father Bindusara, it is said that Ashoka had to kill all his 99 brothers to assume the throne as per Buddhist tradition. Probably there was an internal war among the brothers for about 4 years. It is assumed that the ascended throne in the year 269 BCE, he waged a war against Kalinga 8 years later. This was the only war waged by him after becoming a king. Now we will see about the Kalinga war. Kalinga, it is a place in Odisha. Ashoka declared war on the Kalinga, who refused to accept the rule of Maurya Empire in 261 BCE. The 13th rock inscription of Ashoka provides more information on this battle. According to it, Ashoka declared war on Kalinga 8 years after assuming the throne. In this battle, 150,000 prisoners were taken, 1 lakh people died, many more became refugees. Though Kalinga was won by Ashoka, he was disturbed by the death and the pain of the battle, and he decided not to wage war thereafter. He considered victory of religion is better than the victory in the battlefield. He went into repentance on seeing the devastation created by the war. On being inspired by Buddhism, he dedicated his remaining life to spread the message of peace. Now we will see about the Buddhism and Ashoka. Ashoka accepted Buddhism after the Kalinga battle. He made donation to the Buddhist monasteries and viharas. He prohibited the killing of animals and birds in his kingdom. Ashoka declared that all his citizens are his children. He declared that all should be loyal to their parents and respect their elders and gurus. He wanted people to show compassion to poor and slave too. Live and let live, said he. He appointed officers named Dharma Mahamantra to preach the principles of Buddhism. He installed inscriptions all across the kingdom to preach the message of Buddhism. Preachers were sent to other countries as well. A person named Rakshita was sent to Banavasi, and another person by name Mahadeva was sent to Mysore. He also sent his son Rahula and daughter Sangamitri to Sri Lanka. In 250 BCE, he organized the third Buddhist conference at Patliputra. Next it is Ashoka's inscription. Ashoka is called as the father of inscription. Till today, his inscriptions are the first inscription to be read. In 1837 CE, a British officer, James Pirnep, described Ashoka's inscription for the first time. In all the inscription, instead of his name, his title, Devanam Priya and Priyadarshi were used. Charles Baden, a British engineer, read an inscription at Maski of Raichur in 1915 CE. In this inscription, Devanam Priya, Priyadarshi, Ashoka reference appear for the first time. Based on this, it was decided that Devanam Priya and Priyadarshi are the same. Later in other inscriptions, the name Ashoka appear. Now we will see about the economic system during Maurya's period. There are evidences which prove that the lake and the canal system for irrigation was good during Maurya's period. Pushyagupta, a governor during the period of Chandragupta Maurya, had built Sudarshan Sarovar, a dam in Junagadh of Gujarat. An officer named Tusappa during the period of Ashoka built the canal system for this dam. Megasthenes has recorded the existence of irrigation canals. The government was managing the agricultural sector. Prisoners of the war and slaves were engaged in agricultural activities. Land tax was the main source of revenue for the state. A farmer was accepted to pay 1/4 of his income as a tax to the state. Officer named Samrahata and Sadhinanta were in charge of the tax collection and were also custodians of the royal treasury. The technology of producing metal alloys has evolved during the period of Mauryas. Here that alloys means a metal that is used in the combination of two other elements. It is called as alloys. As a result, urban-based artifact production and their marketing found place in the economy of Mauryas along with agriculture. Here, artifact means an object which is made or shaped by the human hands. It is called as artifacts. There were major roads connecting the different parts of the empire from Patliputra, the capital city of Mauryas. A major road to Nepal passing through Vaishali and Champarana from Patliputra was also there. A highway of Takashila from Kosambi passing through the present Delhi and Punjab was there. Merchants were transporting goods on these roads to sell within and outside the empire. Kachku marked silver coins were in circulation in Maurya's kingdom. This period is marked as the second phase of urbanization. Here urbanization means growth and development of cities. It is called as urbanization. Now the next is social system. The social system was evolving of the Varna-based caste system of Vedic period. During this period, people born in higher Varna could migrate to another Varna and gain better social acceptance and respect. There were few such opening of these mobilities. Brahmana and Kshatriya could interchange their status, though the society was divided into four Varnas, namely Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. Several castes were also present. Megasthenes records the presence of 7 castes in Mauryan society in his Indica. The Buddhist sources also confirm the existence of castes, though these castes were less rigid than in the later periods. Caste system has started assuming rigidity during Maurya's period itself. Indica does not record the existence of slaves and dasas in Maurya society, though slavery was in practice during Maurya's rule. It was less harsh than the slavery of Greek and the Roman society. Shudras, the last in the Varna system, were employed as agricultural laborers and domestic help. Now next it is administrative system. Maurya Empire had centralized administrative system. Here centralized means power into a single authority. It is called as centralized. The power was concentrated into the hands of the king. Hence a huge number of officials unseen before were appointing to run the administration. There was a strong espionage. Espionage means spying network. Minister, prince and generals were the higher subordinates of the king. The empire was divided into provinces. These were ruled by either prince or the relatives of the king's family. Takashila, Ujjain, Sharanagiri and Gingara were the regional administrative centers. Officials like Rujokulu, justice officer, Yukta, information recording officer and others were there. The administration of Patliputra was done by a group of 6 committees consisting of 30 officials. Now last it is art and architecture. The contribution of Mauryas to art and architecture is of great significance. Megasthenes Indica record the grandeur of the Mauryas palace in Patliputra. The wooden ruins of the palace and the fort around the palace in Patliputra have been found during excavation. During the period of Ashoka, many stupas were built and pillars were erected. Here stupas means a dome-shaped Buddhist monument. They are called as stupas. Among all the stupas that are found, the stupas of Sanchi, here Sanchi it is in Madhya Pradesh, is the biggest stupa. Around 30 pillars have been found and all of them are polished and made smooth. The images of lion or the oxes are sculpted on these pillars. Our national emblem of 4-headed lions is taken from Ashoka's pillar of Sarnath. Apart from these, Ashoka built 3 rock-cut caves at Barbal Hill. His son Dharashtra built 3 more rock-cut caves at Nagarguni Hills. These caves are also important creation of Maurya's period. Here we have completed about the Mauryas. In our next video we will deal with the Kushans. Hope it is clear for you. If you are having any doubt, you can ask in the comment section. Thank you.